Feelings, nothing more than feelings, trying to forget those feelings of love.
That's going in for sure.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Hey, Paul, it's back to school time, and along with that comes some amazing things we're going to share with the audience today. But before we do, we ought to tell them how to subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, just like, subscribe, and make sure you can then get notifications so that you'll get an update every time we've got a new podcast coming out.
You know, this is the Weekly Travel Alert. We've been putting this out via email now for 30 plus years.
Fax started on a fax machine.
So it started with a fax machine to 100 people, and now we do 100,000 emails every Tuesday at 10:30. ExecutiveTravel.com is our website, and you can find us in Lincoln, Nebraska, 1212 O Street, and we've got a easy to remember phone number, 402
435 8888.
All right. Now, if you were watching a Batman show, do you remember the Batman TV series where they had, anytime that Batman and Robin would come on and face the bad guys, they'd go zip, bang, boom, and they'd have these things all around the dial that would show something when something is amazing. Well, today we got zip, bang, boom for you because we're talking about the Executive Travel Airfare Index. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of great information, and you're going to be amazed at what the fares are. Mm-hmm. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
First article on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler reads, "How low can airfares go? Zip, bang, boom." Okay, I left that out. But we every month we put together this index, Paul, and on August 5th, we put it together. And, of course, we would expect a 5-month future airfare index to show going into the winter fares are going down.
Yeah, they're going to go down.
It happens every year.
Off season.
But they're continuing to go down. This is the 4th month in a row that we've seen a decline in airfares. And that started in my gosh, July. We saw June, July, and August airfares hit the tanks.
Well, and I think what we're seeing is now the impact of some of the uncertainties that we've had with the economy, and they've been forecasting that there's going to be a drop in consumer confidence, which then has a direct impact on travel. So and the airlines have come out and they're not making money, so they're pulling airplanes out of their fleets and putting them on the side. So it's no surprise. I think there is going to be an impact for travelers because I think an article that I saw this last week was that a lot of airlines are going to be forced to pull out of markets that aren't profitable. So there's going to be some things that we're going to see here over the next couple months that will have an impact across the board for travelers.
Well, and I think some people are now wising up to travel. It used to be all that heavy travel was July and August, especially into Europe, especially in the U.S. where
for
the
leisure
kids are out of
travel.
school. Yep. And now people are saying, hey, if it's hot in Southern Europe, I'm not going to go in July and August. I'm going to go in May and June, September and October, even November. You and I like to travel in November, December, January, and February. Yeah. And I can put a coat on easier than sweat.
Yeah.
So with that, we're seeing our airfare index. We do 3 indexes. One's a domestic index, one's an international Europe coach class, and one's an international Europe business class. So we're going to walk through those real quickly. Here we go. Executive Travel's domestic airfare index shows seasonal price drop for fall and winter. Paul, we went and we calculated the airfare from Omaha to 5 key domestic cities, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, and Orlando. And the prices have fallen an amazing $42 from a month ago, which is just striking. Average airfares from October, we did October, November, December, and January. Their average is $167.
It's 75% lower than where we were just 9 months ago.
And it's amazing. So if you're looking at a fall or winter getaway, lock these fares in now, because I don't see how they can keep them that low, and especially if they start pulling out more airplanes from the fleets and to shrink capacity.
And that's what they're going to do, is they're going to make it so that the capacity is less and demand is going to be whatever it is, but they'll be able to drive these prices back up. So, and now is the time to, as you've kind of touched on, it's back to school week here. So, you've made it through summer. Kids are going to get back into their routine. Now is a great time to start thinking about fall break or holiday travel. So while we've got some of these great opportunities out here.
All right, international coach airfares break the $600 barrier. Paul, I about fell out of my chair. I looked at these numbers. Get this. We took the European coach class airfare index of Executive Travel, and we tracked that on August 5th of 2025, and we found that the average fare to 5 cities, which were $594 round trip.
And that's going Omaha to Paris, London, Rome, Amsterdam, and Athens were the 5 cities. So, I mean, yeah, you couldn't get to Florida for that 9 months ago.
No.
So now you can get to Europe. So no reason not to take advantage.
Now, keep in mind, to get the lowest airfares, I've got a little tip at the end, but these aren't your non-stops or their direct flights. These are usually connecting flights to get the lowest fares, but we found these to those 5 European cities. Now, that brings us to the next headline in this week's Weekly Travel Alert, sponsored by Executive Travel. Business class airfares to Europe are so low, you've got to go. My gosh, I'm amazed. We took those same 5 cities, Paris, London, Rome, Amsterdam, and Athens, and we said if we flew from Omaha to those cities, what would be the lowest fare we could find with full flexibility of dates? And the average was $3,427. Now, I've paid twice that.
Many people pay 3 to 4 times that.
Yeah.
So when they do have specific dates or it's business travel, but yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon for us to see a $12,000 or $15,000 business class ticket going over to Europe. So to be able to do that, you can take the whole family for what that costs right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great time to try business class. If you've never flown business class, to have a lay flat bed flying 8 or 9 hours over the water is probably you'll never go back, will you?
That's the fair warning I would put out there. It's kind of like the first time you get a balcony on a cruise ship. You're never going to go cruising again without a balcony. The first time you go business class and get a lay flat going to Europe, you're never going to do Europe without a lay flat business class seat again. So
you get spoiled, and then you got to get your pocketbook out because these fares are going to go up.
Or figure out the credit card miles like you do.
Right. Yeah, well, speaking of that, I'm going to Rome, Italy here next week.
Yeah.
I found a ticket that cost 80,000 points on United.
Each way?
Each way.
Going straight from Chicago over to Rome, or
going from Omaha to, actually this is Omaha to Rome.
Through Chicago, one stop?
Through Chicago,
so you got the single stop for that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a great deal.
Yeah. I've also learned that when I'm looking for credit card miles, I first start out from the hub city. I don't go Omaha to Rome. I start off Chicago to Rome, see if I can find those low price tickets. And then I move it into Omaha to Rome or Lincoln to Rome and see if that works, if they'll extend. Otherwise, for 80,000 miles, sometimes it'll be 120 or 150 to go from Omaha.
Each way,
I just buy a round trip ticket.
Buy a $300 ticket
to Chicago.
Or $167 ticket. There you go.
You bet. Our last item on this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert, brought to you by Executive Travel. You can check us out at executivetravel.com. Reads 3 cheers for Delta Airlines, a promise to protect your privacy. Hey, last week I had in my Weekly Travel Alert a warning to people, because I read the Wall Street Journal about Delta Airlines and their announcement that they were going to start implementing AI to do with their faring. Well, AI, or in that process, machine learning, they've been using for many, many years. Anytime a plane fills up, they increase the prices. Anytime competitors do a lower fare sale, they come in with lower prices. Anytime there's seasonality to a change or that type of thing, they'll change their prices. And that doesn't bother me. That's what they should do. But my concern, as was Wall Street, was they were going to use personal data, such as my credit card data, my frequent flyer data, and anything like that to increase the prices.
History.
So let's take, for example, I'm a 1K member on United, okay? And United used AI and said, hey, I'm going to take that, and he's going to go to Italy. He's gone 12 times this year. He always goes business class, so he's not going to go coach. And he's probably, to maintain his 1K status,
He's going to
stay
fly on
United.
us, yeah.
Yeah. So instead of charging $5,000, maybe we charge him $5,500 and use that AI to predict my activities. So that was the concern. Now, the neat thing is since then I had a call with Delta. I also listened to a little production they put on explaining, and they made a really bold statement. They said they made a firm promise they will never use AI in a manner of using personal data to increase prices.
Okay.
I thought that was a great, bold statement. I'd like to applaud Delta for that, because I don't think any of us want our personal information used against us, especially with pricing.
Well, that's always been my worry with AI, is that personal data and where does it go and how does it get used. So if they make that commitment, then hopefully we can rest easy knowing that it's not going to have a negative impact on our travelers.
Yeah, so let's hope the other airlines, United, American was pretty bold in saying they weren't going to do it. And United's, I don't know, still on the fence, I think, a little bit. But anyway, we wanted to make sure that our listeners knew that Delta Airlines should be applauded for making a strong statement. That's this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.